This is Rebase.
So what do you do for a living? Oh yeah? How's that? These are questions you hear on a regular basis. And maybe you used to answer with excitement, with passion, with joy, but now you dread even answering the question. Well, I'm here to tell you this is not a show that's going to tell you how to quit your job and start a new company. Maybe that's not for everybody. It is, however, a show that will help you to rediscover your purpose, that passion, that joy, and that fulfillment in what it is you do. Or, if nothing else, you might figure out what it is you should be doing on a daily basis. This is Rebase. We're here to help you transform your career and change your life. What's up, Rebase Nation? Welcome to this Rebase episode entitled How to Finally Stick to Your Resolutions for Once and Hit Your Goals. It's that time of year where everybody aggressively, hesitantly, or otherwise sets their sights on making some improvements in their lives. Now, I typically, historically, have not been a fan of New Year's resolutions. I don't believe you need to choose a time of year in order to set a goal and make some change in your life. But whatever floats your boat, I'm obviously part of the minority. A lot of people choose New Year's. They choose January 1st in order to figure out what it is exactly they need to make a change in their lives, personal, professional, relationship, internally, externally, the way they treat other people, whatever that may be. This is that time of year. And I want for all of you to be able to not only set these goals and get that dopamine hit of saying, I'm finally going to lose weight, but I want you to actually lose the weight. I want you to get at that new job. I want you to be able to find that special someone. And you're not going to do that if you just set the goal and then move on, tell somebody about it so that you can feel like you're actually making progress, and then you never actually make any progress. And it ends up being that running joke that everybody has every year around how, yeah, I said I was going to quit smoking, but maybe next year. I know it's only January 15th, but give me another 11 and a half months and I'll try again. So we all know that's bullshit. So what I'm going to do for you guys is to give you a framework, if you want to call it that, give you just some really high-level tips for how to make these goals meaningful and achievable and how to actually hit them for once. So are you ready to jump in? Oh, you can't answer me, so we're going to jump in. You know, the first thing that's really important when setting a resolution is to make the goal really measurable. Saying that you need to lose some weight is kind of bullshit. You can dehydrate yourself. You know, you can go out for a night of drinking and wake up in the morning, your body all depleted of water, and you'll be a couple pounds lighter. You can lose a pound. Most people's weight fluctuates 3 to 5 pounds day to day. So really there's no way to tell if you succeeded unless you make that goal measurable. So if you say, you know what, I feel like I'm 15 pounds overweight, I am going to lose 15 pounds. That is measurable. You can tell what success is. You can tell when you've reached success or not by making the goal measurable. So for the sake of making this simple, I'm just going to use this weight loss goal because it probably is a common one, or maybe one of the most common ones. for people coming into New Year's resolutions. So instead of saying, I need to lose some weight, also say, I'm going to lose 15 pounds. Just the language that you use in your internal dialogue, monologue, whatever, is really important. To say, I need to, I want to, I'd like to. No, fuck that. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to lose 25 pounds. I'm going to do this because it's important. Which leads me into the next tip. Get clear, really clear on your why, on the purpose of why you need to achieve this goal. It can't be something external. It can't be because I want people to look at me differently, because I feel fat and I don't want to feel fat anymore, and I don't want people to call me fat, and I don't want them to look at me funny. Like, you need to really understand like why internally for you this is important, because you will do things for a period of time for other people, or your perception that is for other people, but you won't stick with it long term. So if you do feel overweight, for example, and you feel like people are judging you, start digging into, why do you feel like people judge you? Why do you feel like you're overweight? Why do you really need to lose that 15 pounds? Is losing that 15 pounds really going to bring you joy? Probably not. I mean, it'll make you feel a little bit better, but long term, maybe not. But why 15 pounds? Is it because that's the weight you were whenever you went to college, or before you got married, or before you had your sixth kid? I don't know. It's going to be different for you. It's going to be different for everybody. But why would being 15 pounds lighter be important to you? Is it so you have more energy? Is it so you can fit into that bikini when bikini season comes up? It's not too far away, depending on where you live. Why is fitting into that bikini important to you? Why is being the weight you were when you got married important to you? Is it because you want to be able to play with your kids? Is it because you want to feel sexier? Is it because you want to feel more attractive? Is it because you want to feel more attracted to yourself? Is it because just mentally you know that's where you operate at your peak? Get very clear on this, and then just keep reminding yourself of why you're trying to get there. The next tip is to make the goal really result-oriented and not task-oriented. And I'm going to keep hammering on this weight loss thing because, it's just easy. But to say, I'm going to go running every day, that's a task-oriented goal or resolution. I'm going to run 5 miles every day. What happens whenever you get a freak injury? What happens when it's pouring down rain outside? What happens when any little thing gets in the way of accomplishing that task, as opposed to moving towards that clear, measurable goal? If you want to lose weight, you want to lose that 15 pounds, yeah, maybe running 5 miles a day or 2 miles a day or whatever it is going to help you get there. But on the days where it's snowing and you can't make it out of the driveway to even get to a treadmill to try to simulate that distance running, what can you do? You need to have other options. You need to have backup plans. You need to have contingencies, which I mentioned in another Rebase episode. You need to have alternatives to help keep moving you towards that result versus this task or this list of tasks that you think you're going to be able to do every single day. Maybe on the days where it's snowing outside and you can't be physically active to the degree that you would like to be, maybe you just mind your nutrition a little bit more that day. Maybe you decide you're going to do some body weight circuit training at home. You need to have alternatives. And if you have a clear goal-based resolution and not a task-based resolution, then you'll be able to be more flexible and you'll be able to keep moving in the direction of that goal despite any sort of setbacks and things that are honestly out of your control. Next thing you need to do is to set a deadline. Not only should the goal be measurable, it should be time constrained. So make sure that it's realistic, but be able to say, I want to lose 15 pounds by the end of February. Because if you just say, I want to lose 15 pounds, well, eventually anybody can get there. You could lose 1 pound every 3 months and then just kind of wait for, several years. And eventually you'll lose that 15 pounds. There's no sense of urgency whenever there's no deadline that you set for yourself that you commit to. So you need to set that deadline. You need to commit to it and think that even if you say, I need to lose 15 pounds in the next 2 months, if you don't get there, if you fail, but let's just say you lose 8 pounds in the next 2 months, think about how much better that would be than if you didn't have a sense of urgency and you just kind of lost 4 pounds because you didn't really care about the goal that much after the first 2 weeks. And, you're just not really that motivated to it. Set the deadline because that will force you to hold yourself accountable. Next thing you really need to do is to set checkpoints. And things are going to fluctuate up and down, but if you set reasonable checkpoints along the way, so let's just say you have that time-based goal and you give yourself 3 months in order to achieve that goal, what does progress look like after 3 weeks, after 6 weeks, after 9 weeks? Then you get to that 12 weeks and after 3 weeks, are you making progress? Maybe it is not like that you're a quarter of the way there, but it's okay. Like I said, these things will ebb and flow. But if you set checkpoints along the way to just stop and assess that you are making progress, and if you're not making the progress you like, how do you change your behavior to accelerate progress? Or maybe you're way ahead of the game, so you allow yourself a couple slices of pizza, whatever that may be. So set those checkpoints. Nobody has ever set a goal that I'm aware of months out, and then they just kind of forget about keeping themselves honest and keeping themselves accountable. And then, 3 months goes by and I'm like, all right, I hit that checkpoint. Didn't even have to check in with myself to see how I was doing. Like it doesn't happen. It's very rare if it happens at all with successful people. The next one is a bit of a delicate topic. You need to cut out the people who might interfere with you achieving your goal. Or at the very least, if you can't cut them out completely, you really need to limit the access they have to you. And this is so important because people in your life will be uncomfortable with change that you're making. And even though it's not about them, or maybe in some cases it is, but in most cases it's about you, not about them, but they make it about them. A lot of times people won't support the change you're making because they don't understand it, or they're afraid of how that's going to change who you are and how that changes their relationship with you. And in the worst case, it really shows them or changes how they feel about themselves. And so if you have been hanging out with a lot of friends who are maybe eating poorly or drinking a ton or not exercising or not being active, as soon as you start showing an interest in fitness or nutrition or in taking care of yourself and improving the quality of your life, if they're not doing the same thing, they're worried that you're not going to be their friend anymore. They're worried that they're going to lose a connection to you. They're really concerned potentially that it reflects poorly on them. Like, why aren't they as dedicated as you are? And they will try to sabotage you, even despite having really, most of the time, good intentions. So take a good account, audit your friends, audit the people you surround yourself with, and make sure that you're not allowing toxic behavior. I'm not going to say toxic people because most people, like I said, they have the best of intentions, but their behavior can absolutely interfere with this goal. And you will do this if you're absolutely clear on the why you're doing it and the why you're committed to this goal. If you're not, you may just allow these people to remain in your life and then just say, you know what, the goal is not really that important. This resolution, who needs to quit smoking? Who needs to lose a little bit of weight whenever I can just stay and stand still with the people I already have in my life? Things are going to change. And when you set a goal like this, you are going to change. And you need to understand and accept that that might mean, at least in the short term, changing the people you surround yourself with. Next thing, hugely important to make sure that this actually sticks, which is the title of this episode, is to create for yourself an environment that supports this change and that holds you accountable. We're not great at holding ourselves accountable. Some of us are better than others, but you really need to make sure that you have some mechanism for accountability to make sure that you're making progress, that you're coming close to achieving that goal when you get to that deadline, that at your checkpoints, you're sharing this information with somebody. Maybe in this case of the weight loss, you have a workout partner. Maybe you have a personal trainer. Maybe you have a strength coach. Maybe you have a nutritionist, somebody or something that will hold you accountable to making progress. And again, calling back to the last tip of cutting out people who aren't supportive, who or what can you involve in your life as you're making this change? Like, you're growing, let's be clear, but you are changing as a person. Who or what will support that change? And if you don't have that environment, it's far too easy, I tell you from experience, to backslide into previous negative behavior or the behavior that got you to this scenario, this point in time where you aren't happy. So cultivate that environment that provides support and accountability. And the last thing before we sign off here is to just understand that, again, you're growing, you're changing, you're also forming new habits. And forming new habits takes time. The guys who wrote the book, The One Thing, fantastic book, and who also now run an entire company built around the concept of the one thing, have referenced studies that show that forming a new habit can take as much as 66 days. It's not this 21 days all the time. Sometimes it is. Depends on the scope of the new habit. But a lot of times these things take time. 66 days, it's almost 10 weeks. So you need to be doing these things on a regular basis. You need to be going to the gym and eating well and trying to do it on a regular cadence so that you're forming a habit, you're strengthening a muscle. You don't go to the gym one time and all of a sudden you're big and strong. You don't eat healthy one time and you never have to eat healthy again. You don't wake up and meditate 2 days in a row and all of a sudden you're good. No, these things take time. They're habits. And you need to allow that change to take shape and to set in. And the other side of this is you will face setbacks. You can say all you want, going back to making things result-oriented and not task-oriented, is you're going to face setbacks. Life has a way of intervening. One of my favorite sayings of all time is, no plan survives contact with the enemy. And in this case, the enemy is your current lifestyle, your current situation, the people you surround yourself with, your work, your sleep schedule, the weather, any fucking thing can interfere and present itself as a setback. So cut yourself a little slack. When you fall off the horse, you get back on the horse. Know that every single moment, every single day is an opportunity to start creating that change. Even if you get set back for multiple days in a row, know that at any given time, you have a choice for how you respond and how you approach your life and this particular change. So that's it. Easy, right? Make your goals measurable. Make sure that you can put a number on things or that you can have some sort of result that you know when you hit it. Get clear on the purpose behind why you're doing this. Dig deep if you have to. Keep asking yourself why until you get to that point that just the light bulb goes on in your head and in your heart, and you're like, I have to do this now. It is important. Set a deadline, time constraints. Make sure that your goals, your resolutions are result-oriented, not task-oriented. Set checkpoints whenever you're working towards that deadline to just sort of check progress and be honest with yourself. Not critical, just honest. Cut out or limit your exposure to the people who can and will interfere with you achieving this goal. Create an environment that supports your work towards this goal and holds you accountable to it. And lastly, understand that forming new habits will take time. This change does not happen overnight. You're going to face setbacks, so don't beat yourself up. Well, thank you guys for tuning in so much, and I really hope that this helps you. If you're setting a New Year's resolution this year, it really helps you to figure out how you're going to get there, and this will be the year that after 10 years of saying you're going to quit smoking, you're going to lose that 15 pounds, you're going to finally stick to it this year. I know you can do it, and I know that you will do it. So thanks again for listening, watching, reading, tuning in, all of those things. And love you guys for allowing me to take this brief time in your life. And I hope that you'll subscribe on YouTube, via podcast, because I'm really here to help you transform your life in whatever way I can. So thanks again so much, and I'll be talking to you soon.